welcome back to my channel. Today I am sitting on the floor, not trying to sit on this chair. So here we are from my living room floor. Today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the signs and symptoms that I saw in Jada that led to her getting an autism diagnosis. So in the beginning, I used to think that Jada actually had a hearing impairment because when I would call her, she wouldn't answer to her name. So I thought that she might have something wrong with her hearing, but no, that's just a part of having autism. When you call your child's name, you might notice that they don't respond to their name and they don't seem to know their name. So I really thought that she didn't know her name. I also noticed that she had noise sensitivity. So she would be really sensitive to noise. If there was a vacuum or a loud noise, she would get frustrated and you could see that she was uncomfortable. And I always used to wonder why she was so sensitive to noise. My daughter, Jada, does not hand flap, but she has repetitive movements. And because she didn't hand flap, I thought she didn't have autism because that's what I thought autism was. I probably mentioned this before, but I was just so misinformed. She would wiggle her fingers in front of her eyes like this, and that was a new thing, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, Jada, what are you doing? And she's self-stimulating herself. In the autism world, we call it stimming. She would jump on everything. She would jump, she would spin, she would flicker on and off the lights. She had a fascination with lights and also fans. She would look at the fans and just stare into space. She just looked really spaced out. She looked like she wasn't here. I would wonder like what was going on with her, and I just was so oblivious to a lot of these signs and symptoms until after she was diagnosed with autism. So Jada had echolalia. She would repeat lots of words, well, not a lot, but she would repeat words that she would hear, and she would repeat it over and over and over again, and it had no meaning to it. She also had, like I explained before, she had a speech delay. And also, some children with autism, they will learn and hit their milestones and then they'll regress, and that's what happened to Jada. So that's another reason why I wasn't really worried about her development, because she was hitting all these milestones and she was hitting them before she was supposed to hit them. So she regressed and lost a lot of the skills that she had learned, which was really odd to me. And that happens a lot with children with autism, and to me it doesn't really make that much sense, but that's the way it is, or that's the way they tell us it is. So she also had lack of eye contact, so she wouldn't look me in my eyes. She had lack of empathy, so if I was crying, she wouldn't seem to care or wouldn't seem to worry about what was happening with me. If I cry now, I have a 1.5-year-old son, he will come and look and try to console me and figure out what is going on. Jada, she never really acquired those skills, so she wouldn't care if I cried or fell down the stairs and broke my leg. She would just probably laugh and think it's funny, but that's okay. So Jada didn't have some nonverbal communication, so she wouldn't wave hi or bye, and she wouldn't point. So if your child is not speaking at around 4 to 5 years old, or even around 3 years old, that's when it becomes worrisome, because your child should be able to at least be able to say a few simple sentences. So that was another red flag for me. She also would be aggressive with her little brother in school. She's not aggressive. Well, I didn't have any problems with her being aggressive with other children, and that's another thing. She would solitary play when she was in daycare. When she was around over 2 years old, 2-3 years old, she would engage in only solitary play. She didn't do any parallel playing. She didn't want to engage with her peers, and that was also another red flag. She also had no social interaction, and she is a flight risk. She will literally run onto the road, and it's very dangerous. She has ran onto the road many times. If your eyes are not peeled on her, she will bolt and run into the road, and she could really hurt herself. So you have to be very on it, and you have to be very attentive, because your child could get hurt. And Jada, she'll jump into swimming pools without life jackets. She will run onto the road. She will let go of your hand, and she loves running. She is really fast. She might even be faster than me. And so I get a workout sometimes, but she's learning and she's getting better each day in terms of learning that it's not okay to run onto the road and that it's dangerous, and we work on those things. Jada, she also would have excessive tantrums. Like, we would be in the grocery store and she would just be screaming and crying, and I would be wondering why she's screaming and crying, and it was because of the noise or something there had triggered her. And a lot of the time with children with autism, when they are nonverbal, you have to guess, and you're playing a guessing game, and you really have to figure out and be in tune with them to figure out what is going on with them, because they're not able to verbalize what's happening with them. So a lot of the time something would trigger Jada and I really wouldn't know what is going on with her, and it would be frustrating for me because you see your child and you see that they're in pain or that they need your support and they need your help, but you can't really pinpoint what they really need. So I had to really become, first of all, in tune with myself, and to be able to become in tune with her, because I had to figure out what is going on with me in order to figure out what is going on with her, because we are connected more than I could have ever imagined. And now this year I started to realize how connected we are. Some of the things that she struggles with, I struggle with, and I didn't realize. I realize now that her symptoms are just some of my symptoms exaggerated, and it's amazing because she came out of me, and I don't know how I didn't realize this before, but I'm grateful because I'm just realizing so many different things. Just because your child has a few of these symptoms does not mean that they are on the autism spectrum. They could do a few of these things and they could grow out of it. Some children without autism will do many of these things. They'll be aggressive. They could be aggressive. And I also don't like to use the word aggressive. I just like to use the word active, because I think aggressive has a negative connotation to it, and I don't like to use negative words when I'm speaking about my children, because I feel like negativity is a vibe and I like to be positive. So positivity is a vibe. Oh my gosh, I just realized that Google Home was playing this whole time. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, Google, stop. I just really hope it didn't mess up this video. So what I was saying, just because your child has some of these symptoms doesn't mean that they are on the autism spectrum. If you're worried about your child's development, you should see your pediatrician. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a mom, and I'm just speaking about the signs and symptoms that I saw in my daughter. There's also another thing that I wanted to say. Jada, she would actually eat her feces, and that was really hard for me, and it's really hard for me to talk about right now, because when she would do that, it would really break my heart, and I would have to double up pants on her. So right now she is not potty trained, and it is my goal for this year for her to be potty trained, because she's 5 years old now, and it's really difficult. If you guys have any tips, any parents who are watching this with children on the spectrum, can you please help me out? Because I've been trying to potty train Jada, and it's been really difficult and rough, and she does not want to sit on the potty, and she has used the potty before, so I know that she can do it, but she's really not comfortable with it. If you have any tips or tricks about ways that I can make her comfortable to want to be potty trained, please let me know. That's it for this video. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to know more about my daughter and her, I can go in depth and I can talk a lot more about the signs and symptoms. I can make a part 2. Please let me know in the comments below. Until next time, see you later.